continuing our presentation is part 2 on counting of number 1 to 10 in Tamil, Sumerian and Indus Valley. And we have seen that I had already attempted to relate Sumerian numbers with Tamil numbers. And say for example, the number 1, though the Western scholars have given Ash, which I have related as in Tamil to Acharam, Achu, and Acharam is what the groom gives for fixing the marriage to the bride. Likewise, number 2 is Min in Sumerian, which can be related to the fish and or the star of Indus, or in Tamil as a mean, and in Tamil mean kangal, the eyes, as which are like fishes, and limu, the number 4 could be easily related to Ali, that's the lion with 4 legs, that's what we see in temples. And a similar notion is also there while we play Pallankuri, where number 4 is called Pasu, the cow. So naturally relating to its 4 legs. And 5 we have already seen I or Aindu in Tamil. So here we say Aya or I. So likewise we could see, and even the counting style we could see as relating to Tamil. Say for I min is I plus min as 2 plus 5, or 5 plus 2 as 7. But in the case of 10 we have U, where in Tamil it is Pattu, so it ends with U, and most of the Tamil numbers end with U, 1, 2, 3, like that. And even I limu 9, I plus lim is also having U. So we have already seen Aya, and interestingly, if we refer to EPSD, the Sumerian dictionary, we see that Aya was written initially by A plus A, and later just A, and subsequently by 2000 BC they started writing A plus 5 plus A, and the incidence and the collections was just one. Fortunate that we could see this cuneiform sign that reflects how the script evolution has taken place, and how it was difficult in the earlier days to write and read, or how it could mean many things. And so slowly people started abstracting to alphabetical system. And we have also brought out this term Aya as the goddess or the grandmother, that's common to all 4 languages, Sumerian, Gondi, Tamil and Indus, as it is interpreted by Gangali. And this particular sign, the stick diagram, the man with a crown of a leaf, and this leaf is having religious implications. And even we see Gondi people, the tribes have the cap, or the topi, or the crown decorating with pots of plants and flowers in a very similar way. And even Lord Muruga and Lord Krishna are decorated with a crown, say like peacock feather. And in other words, we have continuity and we have records to interpret the Indus signs. This we'll have to critically examine, and we have also attempted on reinterpreting the Bengali reading of the Indus signs through Gondi, and this is very interesting sign. As you see, Yuru Bil Lambal, that could meant the goddess, or even we have a tribe called Irular who live in forest, and the second sign as you go from the right is Noor. That this is a very engineering simple sketch of an oil mill of those days. What you have inside that U sign, Gangali had read that as number 9, whereas Noor could also be related to Tamil 100, and this Noor Gangali gives as crushing, and Nu in Sumerian means create, or even another meaning nil, nothing. And we have Thor, that is with 2 short signs, though this is used by Gangali to construct complete words, Irular, Irundor, like that in Tamil. But even though in Hindi it could have come from this door, and Nalu, Nal, this I have taken for good, Nalla, which also say we could see the usage of numbers to mean certain other noun forms also, the other values also. And Omal, Gangali had interpreted this as a Omal, Oman. Even we have a country by name Oman. He sees this as paddy, and this we could see as Kadir crop, something like what we have in Kambu crop. And I had reinterpreted this as a possibility. Tubal-driven oil mill is good, 4-fold better technology. So we have seen here the 4 signs, as you see from right, or could reflect numbers like 2, 9, 100, and 2 and 4, but they also mean or give different meanings. And this is one interesting aspect in interpretation of Indus sign that we have to look into. And Omal is abstracted by Gangali even to mean woe, the vowel woe. And Professor Madhuvan had taken this to mean Ulladi, woe, and they come closer to as U and O. And we have reinterpreted many of or few of the Gangalis deciphering of the Indus sign, and this is very interesting in the sense you have a comparative measure here. I have come across comparative equal signs relation in bartering in the signs. This tells gold, dress, house are the 3 measures of wealth, but you have one symbol. This is again in engineering, Kovata. This is taken by me as gold, and Gangali also gives the meaning of gold, and also Tadu. Tadu is the war. So this a particular device used, say furnace, as a crucible for melting of metal. So you see Tadu, and these naming and interpretation could help us to decipher the Indus signs. But our now focus is on the numbers. Here we have the number sign 3, that is also interpreted by Ganguly as Mundu, or move forward, and moon, mundu, moon, like that. So this also gives the scope to understand how the Indus scripts could have been developed and used by people of ancient time. So we'll see further observations. Say for example, as we have seen with a few words like elephant, goddess from Indus having spread to many other languages in the world, we could expect similarly traces of names of numbers and signs to have spread to many languages in the world. Say for example, Greek number names for 1 and 9 are very interesting. This remains both Sumerian usage and the Tamil numbers. Say for example, number 1 is called as Enna and number 9 is called Ennia by Greek people, Greeks. So the N is in Tamil number, and in Sumerian Enna means what, until, and even Atman. And so we could see in Sumerian the very early form of referring to Atma. And so we could find out Sumerian numbers in Tamil as recorded as of now as 1 as Asal, Ondru, 2 Min, Minnum, Mean, Kangal, Irandu, Is, Isam, Moondru, Iswar, Moondru, Trisul, like that. And Limu, Olim, Kalgal, Nangu, Ya, Aindu, like that. We could go up to Pattu, 10. And this could be seen as probable or most likely, at least with certain cases they are very exact. They give confidence. And when we compare likewise Sumerian Brahui, we see number 1 and 6 are very similar as Asit and as Sas, like that. And we could also relate, as we have seen, that the numbers from Indus could have spread all over the world. We could collect the numbers for each 1 to 10 as was or as is spoken, and we can have these collections as a starting sets to identify and to corner the Indus numbers. So that way I have done, or we have done for number 1 as Asal, Achu, Egam, Ondru, Sit, Undi, 1, Enna, Mandi, Ka. Ka is again very interesting. It is related in Sumerian to mouth, and Tamil we also have Kai Vidudal, Ka Vidudal, in the sense to stop talking. So Madhivanan, Professor Madhivanan had used phonetic values and fair number of strokes and found out in the signs and in the numbers. And because Purnachandra Jiva had backworked from Tamil Brahmi scripts to Indus scripts, and he also identifies the signs with the phonetic values. So Ganguly, I had worked a bit deeper into that, and he had related Indus people to as they are the Gondi people, and the cultural relations and the continuity, we could come out with very impressive results. And he uses 8 to 10 different signs that we have seen Peterson had recommended as an actual system that could have been used by Indus people. What if we have not assumed the language? Then Sumerian, Gondian, Tamil, moreover Sanskrit might give clues to the names of Indus numbers. Even English one is very similar to Tamil Ondru. So they all have something common etymological roots. How would have numbers been taught in those periods? This is actually the way we are taught the primary education. Say for example, A for apple, apple means A, and also looking at just the pictures, narrating stories. I postulate, or we could expect that both the Sumerian and Indus people deployed such a teaching method, used such a technique to finally land upon the alphabetical scripts what we have in the modern time. And I interpret that the present system of teaching is as having come from those ancient periods. Say counting of numbers using our own fingers is still a classical example, and and we also propose the lessons as we could as we don't know how Tamil number scripts were taught, so an attempt is made here. Say for example, ka, mouth is 1, yu, lips are 2, sa, add 2 legs to sa as 6, and like that, ya, grandfather has fingers 10. And if you look at Sumerian, Tamil use same system of adding and telling numbers. Sumerian and the signs do so show sign systems of addition. Sumerian signs 4 plus 3, 5 plus 2. That such a system is still or was there in recent past as Tamil poets were telling numbers. Indus text and Sumerian text contain number signs. These make the possibility of reading the text as deterministic once numbers, numerals, phonetic values are ascertained. This is one possibility that we have applied in the case of the Sumerian, particularly the Babylonian mathematics. We have seen even probably the triangle was referred in Tamil as Samatun Sangam. That is, Samatun is equal sides. Sangam refers to the corners and the angle, equal angles, equal sides of a triangle. Could have been said by Babylonian people in Tamil as Samatun Sangam. And as you interpret the numerical values, phonetic values are as found in Sumerian, we could identify the language and ascertain by what language they would have spoken. So though the Western scholars say that Sumerian language is dead, nobody is speaking, we find certain traces in present form of Tamil. So to conclude, the numeral names collections from all languages, particularly Dravidian, Sumerian, could give better clues to deciphering Indus signs, particularly the numbers. And before deciphering Indus signs, deciphering numbers could give advantage to reach consensus, as we have many scholars who have deciphered Indus signs, but there is no agreement or uniformity between them. And as when this presentation was made, one major question was asked in the presentation, whether we have made any mathematical model. So we have not made any mathematical model to ascertain. It was our research was only preliminary and explorative, and now we find that it is possible as we collect tokens, the names for numbers as well as for all the scripts starting from Bengali or even from Papola or any other Western scholars. We must be able to arrive at certain probable solutions to the Indus Valley scripts deciphering. Thank you very much. Thank you.